Hello, this is the non-dual lectionary for the seventh Sunday after Pentecost, year A, and we're continuing on with Matthew. This week it's Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 through 9 and 18 through 23. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea. Such great crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat there while the whole crowd stood on the beach. And he told them many things in parables, saying, Listen. A sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell on a path, and the birds came and ate them up. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil, and they sprang up quickly, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and brought forth grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. If you have ears, hear. Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what is sown in the heart. This is what was sown on the path. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet such a person has no root, but endures only for a while. And when trouble or persecution arises on account of the word, that person immediately falls away. As for what was sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word. But the cares of this age and the lure of wealth choke the word, and it yields nothing. But as for what was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields in one case 100-fold, in another 60, and in another 30. So this one, I mean, we've even got an explainer here. So what is there to explain, right? And the one thing I want to say about this from that kind of recognized perspective, I think, is it's really easy to hear this, to read this as a series of shoulds, right? You should be a person who's good soil, right? You should listen and take it in, and you should not be, someone who allows the word to be snatched away, or who doesn't endure, through trouble or persecution, or who, cares for wealth, right? Um, that's certainly one way to read it, but I think from, more of like looking back, kind of it, if it, once the recognition kind of takes hold, like a non-dual recognition a little bit, right? And looking back, I think this is more of a descriptor than a series of shoulds, right? And that's one of the keys that I think unlocks a lot of things. We haven't talked about this one in a while, but a lot of things that we read as shoulds are more just this is the way it is. And so in that sense, right? If we read it that way, what Jesus is saying is, listen, I'm pointing you to your true nature, right? Um, and that's just that's what all these teachings and all his model sets forth, right? His presence, all of that. Um, if you are this way, you'll hear it, and it'll take hold, and you'll get it, right? If you are this way, you might be lured by, you know, wealth, which can be a stand-in for attachments, right? If we want to make a link there, or anything like that, right? Um, but more as than the parable, if we go back up to the top, right, the more as a descriptor of like uh, answering a question of like, wait a minute, why do some people seem to just land with this and some don't? And that happens in every teacher I've been around, right? There are some people who just hear it the first time and boom, it's there, right? And there's people who describe like the first time they meditated, they felt their face melt away, right? And they're sent into the void or something. Um, whether that endures or whether it's that, hear the word with joy the first time, who knows that there's more to come from there, right? I mean, from at least that first experience, we don't know. But if we read it as just an explainer, this is just laying out the lay of the land, right? Hey, some things happen this way, some things happen this way. And the underlying lesson there is not you should try to be this way. The underlying lesson is, if anything, like relax, let go, surrender to what's happening because it'll land when it lands, right? Now that can get taken to an extreme too, right? I mean, there are teachers out there, Papa G famously, there are stories of him someone just coming to him and saying like there is no path, right? There's no practice, there is no path, and telling people that they're, tapped to teach from day one. Um, that kind of thing, right? And that's an extreme, but the extreme is like getting at a core truth, right? Which is there really is no path, there really is no practice because true nature is always already here. And if that's true, then, all you can do is relax into it, right? Um, Now, other lessons, or other teachings will say, do the practice, right? The old, enlightenment's an accident, meditation makes you accident prone idea. Um, but do the other side of the lesson is, right, do the practice and relax and surrender into it, right? Don't do the practice with the sense of like, I should do it this way, or I need to experience something. I'm not getting it because that's fundamentally not in your control. Nothing is in this sense, right? So, again, I think the one way we can kind of, take a new perspective on this lesson is it's instead of reading it as a series of shoulds, and if you read it again, he never says you should be like this, be like this one, not in this one at least. Um, Instead, just as a description, why does this happen this way? Just as a descriptor, literally laying out what is, right? And I know I often end with like, sinking into what is like the path itself. But in this way, like knowing or hearing, right? Because knowing is a different way, but hearing, oh, this is the way it is, can maybe help us relax, right? Oh, if I don't get it right now, I don't get it right now. That's not in my control. you know, the seeds have been sowed on the path over here for now, at least. And maybe next time something will happen. Maybe next time it'll sink in a little more. But if I can relax into that, it actually prepares the path a little bit better. So it's both a descriptor then of what is, right? But also helps us relax into what is on the path to just recognizing that we are what is.